growth Freelancer has experienced and support the millions of users that regularly use their site. He has led the company's adoption of cloud-based technologies and scalable architecture solutions and is co-author on a number of patent applications. Previously, David has been the Chief Technical Officer at ThirdSense, an Australian-based company specializing in casual gaming and online gaming networks, prior to which he was a partner in an IT security consultancy providing auditing and secure infrastructure management services. Ladies and gentlemen, David Harrison.
Good morning. Look, it's fantastic to be here. It's amazing and always a fantastic opportunity to be able to talk to people about the nature and the changing dynamic in the services industry that's taking place right now. And really, I think any emerging or changing economy that is finding and beginning to realize the opportunities that the internet and that online can bring to them is absolutely in the box seat. There is no question that the way that the world is moving at the moment means that every person in this room has an enormous range of opportunities and changes opening up in front of them. And it's just a question of reaching out sometimes, recognizing that the opportunities are there and taking that advantage. And so what I'd like to do today is go through and talk a little bit about freelancer.com and the way that work is changing online today. So presently there's about 7 billion people in the world. That means an enormous quantity of people everywhere, but only 2 billion of them are on the internet today. And what that really means is that about 70% of the world is still yet to come online. Now, if you think about that, for us, we take it for granted that the internet is part of our daily lives, but for a large portion of the world, that just simply isn't the case. And if you look around this global map and you have a look at the number or the amount of digital penetration that is in all these different regions, you can actually see that, in North America and Europe, significant levels of internet penetration. But if you start looking at Asia and Africa, in Africa 1 in 10 people have access to the internet. And that really does change the way that you experience the world in a day and age where Apple and iPods and iPhones are something that we all take for granted. In fact, over the last 10 years, between 2000 and 2010, there's been double and triple digit growth in a range of different markets, and the rate of internet penetration is increasing unbelievably quickly. If you have a look at the Middle East and Latin America, 1,000 to 1,800% growth in internet penetration. In Africa, almost 2,500% growth over that same period of time. And as these people are coming online, as they're starting to realize the benefits that the internet can give to them, we're actually seeing a significant shift in the way that people are using the internet. It used to be the case that it was really focused very much in Western-based countries like Australia or America, over in the UK. But these days, the predominant proportion of people who are actually accessing some of the biggest services around the world are outside of the US. In fact, over the last 3 years, you can see that more people in China came online as there are people online in the US at the moment. And in fact, if you look at the hard numbers, there's actually twice as many people online in China at the moment as there are in America. Now, those other 5 billion people around the world who are busily getting online right this second, who are for the first time ever having access to the internet and to PCs, those people are often on wages as low as $10 a day. And that really opens up an enormous opportunity, because there's a level of service that they can provide, a skill that they bring to the table that they are able to provide at a lower level of cost than developed economies have ever been able to achieve locally. And what those people are able to do is upskill themselves. So they might have tertiary degrees already, but they also might be looking to try and acquire skills. And in trying to acquire skills, what they're trying to do is lift their own level of economic status. So you can go out and pay for education, you can buy things, you can upgrade your car, for example. And so what you can do is you can go around, upskill yourself and participate in the global economy. And that's because it's never been a better time to get access to education and get access to knowledge. It is a phenomenal time that we live in where universities around the globe are putting enormous quantities of educational material online. MIT, Harvard, Stanford. Quite frankly, it doesn't even have to be tertiary level education because there are many, many sites out there, for example, like this one, which can teach you how to go through and do a whole range of different things on the internet. It could be logo design or graphic design. It could be styling and designing websites. It could be anything that you can think of that you can dig out of YouTube. I guarantee you that there is a video somewhere that can teach you how to do almost anything. And that is a phenomenal opportunity because all you have to have is a computer, an internet connection, and the willingness and the drive to go out and learn a skill that can allow you to contribute and participate in a massive, enormous global marketplace. And it's that global aspect that's absolutely critical because you can be reaching halfway around the world to work with somebody who is in Australia, for example, which is where I come from. But to get back to that original point, there's also an enormous level of tertiary education now available online. MIT has been putting entire courses up onto the internet so that you can go through every single lecture and go through as if you were sitting in the room. However, they've even gone a step further. Stanford last year for the first time started putting entire courses online where not only can you go through and watch the videos and watch the tutorials and participate virtually, but you can actually go and submit coursework. You can go through and sit exams and quizzes and achieve a level of qualification at the end of that. That is unbelievable because previously you would have had to go to America. You'd have had to get a scholarship or go there under your own power and actually go through and do a course there. But now, without even leaving the safety of your own home, you can go through and virtually experience the best quality education available. Now, it's not just a question of going through and upskilling yourself. There is a significant and fundamental change happening to the way that the world operates. Industries that have never before been able to, experience this kind of online presence are rapidly digitizing. Just stop and think for a moment. So we've heard about Apple. Apple could, probably buy many countries 10 times over, no question. They're a very successful organization. But they have come from a significant shift in the way that media is handled. So let's think about what they've done for music. 10, 20 years ago, it would have been tape decks or reel-to-reel. 5 years ago, it would have been DVDs or CDs. Now, for $1 a song, you can buy 10,000 songs, put them onto or albums, put them onto your iPod and carry them around. You can carry a virtual digital library of music anywhere you go, and all by the power of distilling that music down into a single digital file. Let's have a think about Amazon for a moment. Amazon originally disrupted the entire book space by making it, first of all, absolutely easy, trivial to find the book that you want and have it shipped halfway across the globe at significant and cheaper costs than you've ever seen before. You could actually get a book cheaper on Amazon and shipped to you than you could going down to the local bookstore. Then they took it one step further because, again, it's the digitization component that is the significant disruptor here. Because what they were able to do is make it so that you can have with your iPhone or iPad or with a Kindle device, you can actually download the book. So now for $6, you can download a book, have it delivered to you instantly in real time. Isn't that just an amazingly fundamental shift in the way that things work? And this is happening to every other industry. Mark Andreessen was quoted in the Wall Street Journal last year. Software is eating the world. That is a significant statement. Think about it for a moment, because every industry that has yet to become digital is about to, or is currently doing it. Anything that can be turned into a digital file can be sent halfway around the world and can be, worked on by somebody completely somewhere else. All at the drop of a hat, at the blink of an eye, simply by attaching it to an email. Think about Word documents. Think about Excel spreadsheets. Think about PowerPoint presentations. In fact, you can go even further. Architecture is done through an AutoCAD program. And CAD programs, again, just come down to a single digital file. So you can be doing somebody's house architecture halfway across the globe, mail them the files, and job done. And that means that there is an amazing opportunity that has never existed before and is really just beginning to explode now, where you can be working for anybody half a world away, and as long as what you're doing can be changed down into that digital file, into an MP3, into an MP4, a video file, into an AutoCAD file, into a document, whether you're doing copywriting, word processing, accounting in a spreadsheet, as long as it can be attached to an email and sent or put into a Dropbox and shared, you can be working with someone on the other side of the planet. And this is something that's happened before, because as we all know, the manufacturing industry went through a very similar disruption 10, 20 years ago, where people who were manufacturing televisions and white goods realized that they simply couldn't be competitive as long as they were only manufacturing their goods locally, and instead recognized and realized that they could be getting people to manufacture them overseas at significant savings, and then deliver them back into the local market at significant cost savings. Because the phones that we all enjoy today, the flat panel LCDs that we all have in our homes, those are delivered by exactly this kind of disruption, and the same disruption is now happening to the services marketplace as people realize the power and the benefit that can come from online outsourcing and crowdsourcing. And so where do we sit in that? Freelancer.com is a marketplace that brings together that enormous pool of global labour and the employers and the entrepreneurs and the businesses that really desperately need access to that to get work done. We describe ourselves as the eBay of the labour market, bringing together those two sides of the equation. And so in developed economies in the West, we provide a tool that lets businesses and entrepreneurs that have a moment of inspiration or an idea or a concept and take that into reality. So let me give you an example. My partner is a dietitian. She's just starting up a practice now, and she really needed a website. Look, I'm an engineer by background. I'll put my hand up. I am definitely not a web designer. Anything I design turns out in pastel shades of blue or green, and it's not good for anyone. So what she needed was a website and a logo. She needed business cards and brochures, and she was able to hop online and for a couple of $100 got a logo designed. For a couple of $100 more, had a website put up, and now she had a virtual internet presence, a logo, and a branding that she could go out there and market her business with. And previously, you would have been talking an order of magnitude higher cost. That would have been thousands of dollars, not hundreds of dollars. And that's the kind of quantum shift that can happen for a small business who are trying to get themselves up off the ground, trying to bootstrap themselves, or trying to exist in a virtual economy. So for example, if you're looking to build yourself an e-store, but you don't necessarily know how, now, as never before, you are able to get over that first step and participate in the digital economy. In emerging marketplaces, we deliver that work to people who have the skills and the talent and the drive to take advantage of it. What we're able to do is take that work from economies that desperately need labour and desperately need work to be completed, and deliver that into economies of highly skilled people who are able to benefit from the disparity between the local and the remote wages. Really creating and developing a digital workforce that can drive economies forward. So a little bit of information about us. So we started back in 2004, and today we're actually the world's largest outsourcing and crowdsourcing marketplace. We've got over 3.6 million users. I actually think we're about to close on 3.7 million. And that's in almost 240 countries and regions around the world. That's about 1.6 million projects posted on our website to date, for a total of about $130 million through the site for work completed. And if you think about it for a moment, you think about the savings that translates to for businesses who are getting work done that way. That actually means we've saved businesses somewhere between $500 million to $1 billion. And that is really significant when it comes to small entrepreneurs, to businesses, to small to medium enterprises. Because every dollar that you're able to save, every dollar that you can put back into your own company, that is an extra piece of growth that you can be getting. That's an extra service that you can be offering. That's an extra, series of brochures that you can be putting out there, an extra extension to your website. And that can make all the difference for your growth as a business and as an enterprise. We're actually growing very, very rapidly. You can see here a graph that represents our growth over a period of time. And we're now just hitting the top 200, 300 websites in the world. In fact, in Bangladesh, we're bigger than many of the pre-existing websites that you would already know by name. We're bigger than Amazon, we're bigger than Apple, we're bigger than MSN. I like to say we're bigger than Bing.com, but that's probably not saying all that much these days. Good, that always gets a laugh. This is a really interesting map here because it represents the flow of work between employing and freelancing countries. You can see here that the red represents the work being created, for example, in the US or in Australia, and flowing into other developing or emerging economies that are ready and able to take on that workload. And obviously India forms a significant component of that. Tom Friedman, who you may have heard of, has written extensively on this topic. And I love this particular quote because I think it really gets to the heart of what we're able to achieve through online outsourcing. And I'll just run through it for you. If I just have that spark of an idea now, I can get a designer in Taiwan to design it. I can get a factory in China to produce a prototype. I can get a factory in Vietnam to mass manufacture it. I can use Amazon.com to handle fulfillment. I can use Freelancer.com to find someone to do my logo and manage my backroom. And all of this, I can do at incredibly low prices. The one thing that is not a commodity and never will be is that spark of an idea. And it's that spark of an idea which can drive an economy forward. It can drive an individual, an enterprise, or an entrepreneur forward. You could be sitting on your couch at 2 in the morning in your underwear and you're mulling over the day and you have a moment of inspiration and you think, I've got this brilliant idea. Why can't I get this off the ground? It might be the next iPod, the next Kindle. And it comes to you and you realize, well, I don't know necessarily how to do the hardware architecture, or, I don't have the time to put up that website. And if you don't seize the opportunity, it slips through your fingers. But now you can immediately go online, post a project, get a logo put together, a website put up. You could have somebody drawing architectural diagrams or hardware schematics, and your idea can go from idea to reality in just a matter of moments. And it really is that simple. You can come along, post a project. All you've got to do is have a clear idea of what you want. Put the description into the project and know how much you're ready to spend, and people begin bidding instantly. The rapid engagement of this marketplace is phenomenal. You will post a project and within minutes have tens of bids. Within hours, sometimes you can have hundreds of bids. And that really just reflects the amazing opportunity that exists here for businesses, but also for people looking to get work out of the marketplace. And of course the safety mechanisms as well, because you can use what we call a milestone payment, and that allows you to protect the money until you're 100% happy with the work. This is an example of one of our profile pages, in fact a Jamaican freelancer, and she's doing copywriting and proofreading work. This is a really interesting one. This gentleman is a very successful transcriber, specializing in business and corporate transcription. He's done quite a lot of work. You can see he's got an excellent reputation here. And you can go through and you can describe the kind of work that you're able to do. You might be a web designer and you specialize in working with WordPress, or you might be a transcriber as this gentleman, or you could be one of 100 other things. The kind of work that we can get done has absolutely no bounds. As I said, as long as you can turn it into a digital file, you can be doing it. You can be a graphic designer. You can be working with quantum mechanics. You can be an accountant, you can be a lawyer. There's no limit to what you can be doing online, and your profile can be your representation of who you are in that digital marketplace. And so this is an example of our bid listings. You can see here, relative ratings, your ability to bid on given projects. And so if you're a small business owner, really that just means there's no limit to what you can be getting done. You could be getting a website done, brochures, relaying out your floor plan. And this is giving birth to a whole new breed of entrepreneurs, mom and pop, stay-at-home parents who, as never before, can actually act as multinational enterprises. So before you might have just been able to go down and have a local store, or you might be selling things in your local area, but now you can actually have an online e-store. And an online e-store means that you can be servicing markets all over the globe. You can be shipping your product anywhere that you can possibly imagine, and you can do that all from wherever you're based, and again at lower costs than it's ever been before. You can be running your backroom through Amazon, you can be doing your front-end web development through us, and you can be going and building effectively a virtual empire, all for very, very low cost. Now, I like to give people a few examples of the kind of things that can actually be done with the power of online outsourcing, crowdsourcing, because I'm sure by this point you're starting to put things together, things are starting to fall into place, and you're realizing that there are things that you could be doing. But for example, so we have a crowdsourcing component which allows you to put up a prize and people can compete to win that prize. In this case, this is a logo competition, so you can see here that somebody's come along and wanted to create a logo for their website. This is actually an example of a piece of work done by a Jamaican entrepreneur who wanted to create a search algorithm for a business directory for their website. This is actually another Jamaican one, a customer loyalty and referral app for the BlackBerry platform for somebody who was extending their CRM. A dune buggy, so somebody wanted to create themselves a dune buggy that could go driving around at 30 kilometers per hour. Car wash and cafe design, so again this was an architectural piece of work that laid out a shop for somebody who was looking to start a new business. this is a fantastic one. So this guy wanted to find a better way to teach Chinese students English, and so went through and hired a freelancer to write a rap song to teach them English. Hydrogen engine design. And you can see here that the bidders are coming from all over the world. So this is genuinely a global phenomenon and a global marketplace. And then we thought, let's have a little bit of fun with this concept. We won a Webby a year or so ago, and the Webbies have a rule around their speeches. They can only be 5 words in length. And we thought, well, we could come up with it ourselves, but that's no fun at all. So we put $1,000 into the prize pool and said, look, freelancers, you come up with the speech for us. And we actually got 2,660 entries. And just think about how many people are competing and experiencing that kind of opportunity. And the one that we actually went with in the end was "The Tech Boom is Back." And I think that's definitely been borne out in recent times as well. A couple of examples here. In fact, this one we thought, let's just take it a little bit further. So we thought, well, all right, so $1,000 is good, $25,000 is better. So then we did what we call our Expose Our Logo contest, and $25,000 in the pool, and all you had to do was find a really interesting, creative and crazy way to get our logo in front of people. And we had thousands of people marching through the streets of Bangladesh. We had our banner hung from the tallest tower in Nepal. We had planes being flown over with streaming banners out behind them over New York City. And it really just goes to show that there is absolutely no limit to what you can get done with online work. Because it's never been easier, if you think about it, to assemble a virtual army of people who can be working for your business. And as a result, it's also never been a better time to start a company. Because every company can be an internet-enabled company. Every company can, as long as you distill yourself down into a digital file or create yourself a digital marketplace or a digital store, can be literally an international company overnight. Because all this technology is free. Open source has made a phenomenal disruption to the way that people are able to work. And using technologies like Linux and open source software and things like Skype, you're able to be in contact with customers half a world away in real time on the spot. And sometimes, if it's not cheap, if it's not free, it's cheap. In this case, this is an example of a free piece of software that'll actually allow you to run a whole hotel. So VMware, you can go along, download the image, install it and run it, and it'll actually offer you a virtual PBX that'll also manage your minibar, your Wi-Fi, movie rental. You can actually get a hotel off the ground at zero cost in this case. And you can do all this off the back of a credit card, because all you've got to do is for a couple of $100 get a logo, for a couple of $100 more get a website, and suddenly you're in business. That concept that you had, that idea, has now become a reality, and at exceptionally low cost. And so really what you've got to think about is, how would your current business, how would your weekend warrior enterprise change if you had access to virtually unlimited labor at next to no cost? So really, all that left is to ask is, what are you possibly waiting for? In this world where labor can be on demand, and labor can reach out to you from half a world away at costs that enable your business to grow phenomenally and rapidly, there is absolutely no reason why you should not be reaching out and taking this opportunity as quickly as you possibly can, or engaging in the world's largest marketplace for work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David. Before we go to our next presenter,